Hello, this is Stephen Watson, my daily directed energy targeting log for Saturday, July 12th, 2025. I still have a little time to wait here in Southern California. I'm trying to find one of those automatic, traffic enforcement camera tickets, and I have a Superior Court date in Los Angeles late July, so that's why I'm here in Southern California. In the morning, it wasn't very strong, but I had to get up and pee when I was sleeping, and so there may have been some targeting to the stomach. And I noticed increased targeting to the face and head, trying to disturb my sleep. And this was the case when I used to live in Los Angeles, like 12 months ago. There was targeting, to the face and head, like I mentioned before. Had a mouth sore from being targeted in the mouth. So that was the case when I used to live in California. So I noticed the targeting intensity has picked up here in Southern California, but it is very similar to what I experienced before. And it is interesting how the targeting varies from city to city. As you know, I've been traveling from Texas to New Mexico to Arizona. And, it's the same directed energy, like these audible clicks I hear on my dashboard, followed by pain, like to the stomach, causing incontinence. But I notice the intensity and the type of targeting kind of varies from city to city. And that points to fusion centers. It's the federal government working with local, state law enforcement. What I believe they're trying to do is they're trying to use intermediate force to silence a person, like intermediate force to like silence or oppress a person, because they don't like me practicing my First Amendment rights. Free speech based on research, based on when I posted about UFOs and propulsion, the government tried to make a big deal out of unidentified aerial phenomenon, and how China and all these countries are, now a formidable threat, with building up their militaries. So I believe that is the cause of the abuse. But of course, it creates a cause of action, in law. They're violating your rights over overbearing behavior, alarmism. And this is based on not me being a danger to the public, but it's just being an appealing target and someone to bully and harass for these federal people to make money, to be on a payroll, or law enforcement to make money. So later in the afternoon, I went to a dollar store in West Hills, and when I came back, there was a long line at the dollar store, so I was held up there. And when I came back, there was skin irritants, itching powder, put on my car seat and inside my car. And I wiped the car down. And this, again, is what I used to get when I lived in Los Angeles. There was a lot of black bags putting skin irritants. Since I stay in my car, it's practically my dwelling, and that's what I got when I lived in Los Angeles. In New York, I rented a room, and someone would go through my room and put skin irritants in my laundry. And it would also happen at work in my locker. And my job was at the Port Authority of New York, New Jersey, their headquarters. And the Port Authority, they had their own police, and they did work with the feds, like the Joint Terrorism Task Force. And of course, the Joint Terrorism Task Force, they are controversial. They had protesters, like in Portland and Seattle, activists who claim they were harassed by the Joint Terrorism Task Force. So those are one of the potential culprits I put in my book, microwave harassment, not just 5G, that has sold copies online. So the Joint Terrorism Task Force is one of the culprits I put in my book. And more than likely also contractors, there's like Bivens action if it's a unlawful search and seizure or trespassing by a federal agent. There's what's called a Bivens action. So in all likelihood and possibility, how they skirt around people's constitutional rights is through the private intelligence agency industry. Think Wagner Group, the controversial Israeli spook contractors that have been in the news over the years, Black Cube and an SO group. And then there was also hacking to the computer. I noticed also when driving around, I started sneezing, and that could be sneezing powder. It didn't seem natural, like it was from an allergy or a cold. Using irritants or chemicals, trying to create rashes of poison ivy, and that would also be intermediate force. So there's directed energy, intermediate force, and then there's stuff like pepper spray, LRAD. There's all various forms of intermediate force, and intermediate force just means non-lethal weapon. When I went to go poop later in the afternoon, I noticed my stool, it looked pretty normal because the previous night before there was not much targeting. They took Friday off, and Saturday morning there wasn't much directed energy activity. So this is also another indicator, like I get bioeffects, especially when the stomach is targeted, and that creates wet stools. But this time the stool looked normal because they took a break, on Friday and in the morning, and it allowed my gut health, my gut or my intestines, to produce a normal looking poop or stool. And then later in the evening, I went to do my laundry, and the directed energy picked up again, not only to the stomach, but I tried taking a nap, and the face and head was heavily targeted to try to jolt me from my sleep. And, part of the targeting is try to create sleep deprivation, fatigue, tiredness, fatigue. So, which is a torture tactic, and this was described in the Senate report on